Hey, Jay, how's it going?
It's wonderful. How are you today?
So good. You know why? Because it started snowing and I'm in Canada and
Oh, good.
I love snow.
Excellent. That's
That's
good.
right.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's
that.
beautiful. Oh,
Yeah,
so
that's great. So it's great to meet you. Thank you for rescheduling. I just didn't even,
of course,
it was so early in the morning. I was like, it's Thanksgiving. There's so much going on. So thank you for pivoting. I appreciate it.
no problem. I get it. Thanksgiving's not the same as Canada.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, for sure. Well,
mm,
it's great to meet you. You've got a fascinating story, and I want to begin our conversation with
sure.
something that we all globally went through, which was the pandemic. The last 3.5 years,
Mm,
how did you get through it, and how did it change you?
the pandemic, I think what comes to mind first is that I actually was kind of country jumping a lot during the pandemic. So I got to see very different responses based on each government I was in. So I was in the Netherlands. And if you don't know about the Netherlands, then they were kind of like the poster child of being the most free
Yeah,
when it came to the COVID,
yeah,
in Europe at least. And then I jumped over to Germany, and they were fascinating. They were very much like they hold you tightly and then they let you go. And they repeat that a lot, month to month. So that was really interesting. And then at the end of it, I was able to get into Canada, and they were the strictest of all of them. So I think it gave me it gave me like a triple and quadruple perspective compared to just the two big stories that were out there, which was vaccines are terrible, or like you have to get vaccines no matter what, don't even think about it. So I got like the triple quadruple perspective, and I think it helped me appreciate just helped me appreciate a lot how difficult it is to run a country in a worldwide pandemic, and
yeah,
um helped me also to identify what kind of country I would like to live in myself,
yeah.
which is, by the way, not exactly Canada.
Right, right.
I appreciated Germany, but honestly, at the end of the day, the Netherlands was also rather reasonable. So yeah, not
Yeah.
Canada, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a great perspective. So,
Mm.
you're a nutritional therapist, and I'm curious if we boiled this down to something that for everyone to understand. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of third grade students. It's career day, and one of the
Yeah.
kids looks up curiously and says, "What do you do for a living?" How would you answer that child?
I don't know if you could believe me, but I've actually done this. They were
Okay.
in fourth grade. So,
Yeah. Good.
and I
Good.
think it worked.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was quite simple because every little every little one has a mom in their life. So many have siblings. So something I said to them was like, you know how your mom, like periodically, she just once in a while has lots of pain. She gets frustrated, maybe a lot of very moody with you for no particular reason. Well, I just help them fix that so they feel much better mood and much better energy. Um, yeah, they
But
were really happy when I said that.
yeah, absolutely. I'm sure they were. So, what did you want to be in the third or fourth grade? What was your dream to grow up and become?
Ooh, probably Pocahontas.
Okay.
Can we go with that?
Oh yeah, certainly
But
we can.
honestly, nothing really stood out to me for the longest time until like the first few classes in university, where I got to see like some serious subjects like philosophy and physics, and like the study of a quantum physics in particular. Like that stuff really, really caught my imagination and my heart. But before that, as a child, it was just, you know, be a good person and do
Yeah.
good things and
Yeah.
be connected to the world. I think that was like the dream. Um, but of
Yeah.
course, at the end of the day, if you have to earn money, the first thing I wanted to do was like be in a physics lab
Yeah.
and like study the tiniest parts of the world and see what it has to say about the biggest parts of the world. Like that was the dream.
Yeah. So how did we get to this point? Tell me where you were born and raised and
Mm.
how these seeds of being conscious about nutrition and therapeutically helping people, how did all of this become who you are today?
Yeah. So it does confuse a lot of people when I tell them about my educational history in particular, because it's very science heavy, like, and not at all interested in nutrition. And that was the truth for me. So I wasn't interested in anything nutritional wise for most of my life because I had health. There wasn't anything missing. And until I went to university. So that's when I really started to notice things weren't as right. I wasn't the same person, which is a huge thing that happens if you're malnourished over a long time. And depression hits, and you don't know it's not you. It's actually lack of basic nutrients just to keep your hormones settled and normal. So that's when it all started for me. In university. Before that, zero interest in nutrition. And then after that, I got super sick. I started grad school in Iceland, and which is where I'm from, which is also
Okay.
part of my history. And about a few months after, I became seriously depressed. It was verging on contemplating and figuring out how to commit suicide, which is, you really know you got to reach for help at that point. But of course, I didn't reach for help at that point. I I just dropped out of
Yeah.
graduate school, and I just started to research very, very seriously on what I could do and learn as much as I can. And then I think 5 years after that or so, I had recovered enough so that I could enter this professionally, get a professional certification, and become a nutritional therapy practitioner for others and help them through the same things, especially depression, especially things like mood and period disorders that are not normal. Yeah, that's how I got here.
Yeah.
It's kind of all convoluted, but um, we I don't think I would have it any other way, you know?
Yeah.
You want to help people with the pain that you went through because you would never wish that on anyone else. And
Yeah.
you know it's when you know it's preventable, man,
Yeah.
it hits you. It really hits you.
I get it.
You just can't not do it.
Yeah, for sure. So who's been a hero
Hmm.
for you, an inspiration for you in your life?
Hmm. I think my parents definitely. They they are professionals. Um, So, I mean, even though they're professionals, so my dad is a doctor, my mom's a nurse, even though they took those conventional, safe career paths, you don't have to think much. You just show up to work, it's a decent salary and all that, and you get decent respect and all of that. But even though they had that, always, they just always brought their visions and dreams into reality, as in like they tried to run businesses that often didn't work or like something completely unrelated to their profession. I remember like they had a carrot farm for a while when
Wow.
I was a kid in Iceland, or they ran a hotel as well. You know, the volcano that erupted in Iceland
Yeah.
about 5-ish or more years ago. Um, it was a big deal, and we lived like right in front of that volcano, and they ran a hotel just before the eruption at that point. And yeah, I guess it's really helped me having parents like that that has such an open vision and the willingness to do something that's not conventional and will not necessarily gain you automatic respect at all. Because, yeah, if you pursue something, it will fail, like the carrot business, the hotel, and other things. And then they moved to Canada, which for any family is a big deal. Just picking up your roots like that, cutting them off kind of in a big way,
Yeah.
just to see the world and experience a different part of the world. So we went from Iceland over to BC. And I think a big part of them doing that as my parents has just kept me open and willing to experience things that aren't conventional and that are more risky and won't necessarily make people like you, but it will make you so much more happy
Yeah.
at the end of the day. I think that's it.
Yeah. So if you can meet anybody alive on the planet right now that's inspirational, who would you love to meet and talk to?
I think who's alive right now, right?
Yeah.
I think first person that comes to mind is probably Dave Asprey.
Okay.
Have you heard of Dave Asprey?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
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 One of the first people that taught me that our biology is in our own hands, and that's a pretty great place to start if you're trying to recover from anything.
Yeah.
You have a lot of impact on your genetics as well, which is just something everybody should say to each other every day, because
Yeah.
your destiny is absolutely not 100% predetermined.
So what's been the best advice you've ever gotten?
Oh, this is easy. Not that I follow it very well, but it's slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Okay.
Mm,
Yeah. I like it.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do. So let me ask you this.
The trick is to follow it
Yeah, right. That's the trick.
and not
Always.
rush,
Yeah.
never rush.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a trap.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. What is your motivation every day to wake up and to help people therapeutically
Mm.
get to a better place? What is that? And what makes you who you are? What is that motivation?
Getting out of bed every day. What, let's see. This topic, I just talk about this topic a lot, so a lot comes to mind, but I think the most important thing I'd like to say for myself is that what gets you out of bed should just be your natural instinct to live. That's that's biologically what it should be. Your will to live is hormonal. It comes from a hormonal balance. And if you wake up in the morning and you're just dead, that's a sign. It's not you. You don't even have to have a grand vision that yet you jump out of bed for in the morning. But just wanting to get out of bed is a excellent sign of health. Just because life itself is somehow inherently worth living, a deeply biological level. I think that's what I want to say first. And that is a big part of what gets me out of bed, because I want to help other people realize that their will to live is as natural as just naturally wanting to get out. You don't need anything extra. You don't need to save the world in the morning or think that you, let's see, what is it? The big one, for example, that I can think of is someone who was pretty influential in the health field. Like, one of their big purposes is like making chronic disease optional. That's an amazing purpose.
Yeah.
But like, I'm saying you don't need that. And I think that's what I'd really say is driving me as well. Just life itself is enough. And when I was depressed, that was absolutely absent. And I wish I had known this 10 years ago. And I guess that's the other part that really drives me. And man, 10 years wasted not knowing that is a big deal.
So what's been one of your favorite success stories as a coach and helping people?
One of my favorites was there was this older client that I had just recently, and she usually I work with people with menstrual cramps and period disorders, but I took this client on even though she had different kinds of problems. She's like past menopause and everything, and she was having heart problems. And these are the kind of things that most of us don't talk about, but when we get older, there's multiple kinds of heart disease. Your heart can stop. Your heart can also grow bigger until it can't handle pumping your blood anymore. And anyway, she was having episodes for years where like once, twice a day, every other day, often every day, she would just get really tired and need to sleep and lie down for like at least an hour. And just recently, we've been managing to get her on 0 of those episodes after only working together for like 3 months. And we've only been doing the most basic health foundational things, nothing fancy. Blood sugar regulation, basic diet, and mineral balance. Like this stuff is not complicated. And the standard care system makes it look complicated, mostly because the prescriptions have such fancy sounding names. But from having this for years to being free of it now for almost 2 weeks to a month is just, I'm so proud of her that she's made it that far.
That's wonderful. So of all the things that you've done so far in your life, what are you the proudest of?
Is this professionally or
It can be a Venn
personally?
diagram. It could be a mixture of
Okay.
things. Yeah.
Okay. I think that is the right way to put it, because it is a kind of a mixture. I think one of the things I'm most proud of is reaching for help for myself when I needed it, and finding out the answers, even though I did it the hard way and I didn't find someone to help me. But from that, I found a group of people that needed help that I had no idea needed help. So let me expand on that maybe. The kind of things I'm dealing with right now, the kinds of clients I help, are people that often don't know they're dealing with something unusual. And here's what I'm saying that people don't know. Period pain is not normal. That alone is incredibly revolutionary to say to anybody, man or woman. And I think I'm really proud of finding out that that's true and helping other people get there. It's a new place. We're just having a lot more women in medical care now. So of course, these new possibilities are opening up. But even for myself, I didn't know this was normal until only a few years ago. And so I think I'm really proud of being able to say something like this that will really change the game for so many people. Well, for so many women in particular.
Yeah. So everyone out there has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, but you're the one that's running the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think I'm I think it's often surprising for people to realize that although I am in functional nutritional therapy and I work a lot on the physical body, a significant part of what I do with people is mental. It is thought-based, and because your brain is a part of your physical being, of course, and so your thoughts also have an influence on the expression of your health every day. Why? Because it can produce stress or it can cause calm in your body. So I think a lot of people don't realize that I really help people manage their thoughts, because that manages their stress. So so it's a little bit of a life coach as well as a functional nutritionist. I think that's how I see myself too. And people are always surprised at that little part. It's not
You
just
know,
physical.
yeah, absolutely. So,
Mm.
Iceland is a fascinating spot on the planet. What was the best thing
Mm.
about living in Iceland?
Oh, where do I start? Now that, of course, I live in Canada, I'm all starry-eyed, you
Yeah,
know.
right.
But for sure, I think, well, what I really miss the most is um just the fresh air. No, wider perspective, like clean and fresh. It's everything feels crisper and just refreshing. Like, for example, whenever I get off the plane, the air is amazing and it continues to be amazing. It's so fresh and clean. And the water. So I think the overall umbrella is, I can expand from here a lot, but like the water is amazing.
Yeah.
Um, like I almost wouldn't need people to filter their water at all. That's very big comparison compared to here in North America. And
Yeah.
it's so sad. It's so sad what we have here with our water systems. But in Iceland, damn, it's amazing. And also our heat is free.
Yeah.
Because we use heat for heat, we radiate it from hot water, and the hot water is free. And
Yeah. Wow.
which leads us to being a little spoiled, and you'll often see places where like the heat is on, like full on, and then the windows open. Like it's a
Yeah.
little bad. But like and the last thing I'd say is that you feel a lot more supported in that society. Especially if you're at all interested in having a family and growing old. Like those, unless you're like young and you can handle everything by yourself, being any other way is good. If you're in Iceland, you should be there. Like you both get time off work paid when you have a kid. For example, daycare is completely paid for,
Wow.
like completely. All school is also paid for, including university. I mean, you're only paying for books and administration fees, which are nothing. Well, books are not nothing, but
Yeah.
it
Right.
is basically nothing.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I can go on a lot, but
Yeah.
I think people from who are not from there would say the nature and like the northern lights.
Yeah.
But it's if they stayed there longer, they would absolutely appreciate like the long-term benefits as well of staying there that
Yeah.
are absolutely very likely not present in their own country.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm guessing your listeners are, many of them are from the US and
Yeah.
North America in general, right? And
Yeah.
it's just the fact it's just the structure's not there.
Yeah.
It's not there.
I saw a special Rainn Wilson from The Office, Dwight.
Yeah,
He has this series called The Pursuit of Happiness, and
right.
he's a little depressed, so he's trying to
Mm.
figure out who's the happiest in the world. And he started out in Iceland, and it was magnanimous. Everything you
Oh,
explained was
yeah,
that everybody was happy. There was so many
right.
things. Like one of my favorite bands of all time is Sigur Rós. I've always liked Bjork too. Oh
Nice. You
yeah, I
like
love those
Bjork?
guys.
Yes, Stuart
Yeah,
Rose is
yeah. So
delightful.
there's so many things that have come out of there. And I have what my best friend and the godfather of my son went up
Yeah.
there last year and saw the Northern Lights and
Oh,
went through it. Was just like, it's unreal. Um,
oh,
so yeah, I'm
that's
glad that
right.
I got a perspective from a native. So Isabella, if anyone wants
Thanks.
to reach out to you, hire you, learn more about you, anything about your world, where can they go?
Absolutely. It's real easy. I do everything through my website and my online practice is there. The website is isabellathor.com and I see people one-on-one. Other than that, there's lots of free resources. There's blogs, there's email lists. You can read them and get started feeling better today. Absolutely. And the other thing that I absolutely have to recommend is that you just sign up for my free consultation. It's 90 minutes. You get a free comprehensive health assessment, and we'll figure out what you should do next. And my strategy is to get you taking action so you feel better. And that's it. Whether you work with me or not, it's free.
Okay.
Go for it.
Wonderful. I love it. Isabella, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck with everything.
Thanks, Joe. Have a great one.
You too.